Time Again, exposing the truth. Welcome to Coffee Time Again, exposing the truth. Dale at the microphone, the show that demonstrates how history repeats itself. He digs into the past, shows what happens, and how it is happening now. Follow the path of history to where it goes, then relate it to today to reveal the connections. The culture that forgets its history has no future. A history buff and loves to talk about it, going back as far as ancient Greeks and Egyptians and beyond. So grab your coffee, your chair, and listen to the show. Hope you enjoy.
Good morning. My name is Dale. I'm the host of the show Coffee Time Again, exposing the truth. And today we're exposing the truth on the border. We're talking with JJ, and he is going to and he's going to tell us the story of what happened, what's going on, and his experience with 2 decades with the Border Patrol, rising, as I understand it, to supervisor in the Tijuana, San Diego area, mainly San Diego, I would assume. And anyway, let me introduce the culture that forgets its history has no future. So let's get on with the history of the Border Patrol and what's going on right now. Welcome to the show, JJ.
Thank you for having me. I'm very excited to come and have this great format, the podcast format, to discuss and discuss in detail what I believe is the greatest threat facing our beautiful republic, and that is the unfettered, numerous millions of illegal aliens poured into our nation.
Yes. Millions is a correct statement, too, as I understand it, from what I understand about, because they do a lot of broadcasting from Texas, but they don't do a lot from California, and that's what I'm interested in, too. Because I have family.
Good. I would love to get into anything you want to talk about today. All of my, I've just recently retired for 2 years, and I have numerous sources throughout DHS and the Border Patrol that I get daily updates. So everything that we could talk about today is currently happening.
Okay, what I'd like to know is, what's your history? How did you get involved in the Border Patrol? What brought you in? Are you ex-military and then came into the Border Patrol, or just went into Border Patrol from Homeland Security?
So my father was a Secret Service agent. He was very successful. He was a special agent in charge, high-ranking official, numerous presidential details from LBJ all the way up to Clinton and Pope John Paul II. I'm Catholic, so that was a huge deal for my father to be guarding the Pope, which was insane when the Pope, now Saint, came to New Orleans and spoke in America for the first time in decades. My father, like I said, was Secret Service at the time. In the late 90s, there was a governmental shutdown. The only agency that was hiring was United States Border Patrol. I played college football, and I wanted to be like my father, as many young men want to be. I knew I didn't want to be in a Secret Service, and I wanted to follow a different path, but I knew that being in law enforcement would bring back that camaraderie and teamwork, and I was not mistaken by that. I joined the Border Patrol in 1997. My first duty station was Imperial Beach, which is the southwesternmost point of the United States and 6 miles to the San Ysidro port of entry. It was the Tijuana border. It was spent a decade there during the most violent times in recent Border Patrol history. I received rank of supervisor there, and I ran my own ATV unit, which I still can't believe I got paid to ride around ATVs and chase human smugglers and narcotic smugglers and get paid for it. I took a lateral promotion up to the coastline in San Clemente, California, just south of Los Angeles, and I created and ran a 50-man unit that took down drug cartel shipments of narcotics pouring across our border and landing on our coastlines all the way up to San Francisco. Very successful unit. One of my agents actually testified against El Chapo Guzman and secured the conviction. The vast majority of all narcotics my unit arrested was Sinaloa cartel. So I'm very proud of that, of what I created. I took a promotion to an inland station north in Temecula, California, where I finished my career after 24 years, and my last title was Deputy Patrol Agent in Charge. So, Dale, why I believe that I am an expert on immigration, because of my career has allowed me to have a very unique perspective being a frontline agent down in the weeds, fighting in this war, and it is a war on the border. And then as a senior leader, taking, say, like a 20,000-foot view down to how strategic law enforcement postures are developed, the deployment of manpower and resources and budgets and policies, stuff that really is quite boring, to be honest with you. I'd rather be down on the border, but that gives me a very unique perspective on Border Patrol. And I'm first-time author and had my book published called Invaded: The Intentional Destruction of the American Immigration System. And that is now #1 on Amazon in multiple areas regarding immigration, border, government, treason, etc. So that's a little bit about myself.
So you got the book on Amazon now and other sources? I'm going to give a link to that book when I do the editing.
Yeah, absolutely. You can just go to jjcarroll.com, which is my webpage, and I have a book link to that. And you can just go to amazon.com and type in Invaded by J.J. Carroll, and it will pop up. And I have an ebook, an audio book, and as well as a paperback.
But I love the audiobooks. I have trouble reading because of my sight, my age, and dyslexic. So I prefer.
Well, you'll like my ebook, Dale, because the audio actor is the same actor that did the audio book for American Sniper. And Ron DeSantis' last book. So he's doing mine. I'm very excited about him reading my book. So
good. I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I just wrote it down, so I make sure I get it into the editing. When what I do is there'll be a little blurb right at the top of your head that says his book.
Okay, thank you.
You betcha. I'll get you an. Anyway, so that's how you got started in the Border Patrol. It's an interesting story you have there. I was going to ask, a question came into my mind. You mainly worked with drugs, as I understand, from what I heard you say.
No, the beginning of my career was all the border, where it was just in my area was very urban in Imperial Beach. So it was all human smuggling, Israeli narcotics. Once I got into the coastline, and then obviously up in northern, the last station I was at, it was majority narcotics, hard narcotics, and human smuggling, trafficking.
Yeah, so you were doing trafficking as well, children and adults trafficking, slave trade and sex trade and all that. You got involved in a little bit of that, I assume?
Yeah, everything that you're seeing on the border, everyone that comes across has to pay a fee. And sometimes you do not have the ability to pay that fee. So you're going to work it off in sweatshops, or you're going to sell your body and you're going to pay that off.
That's one of my big things. I'm a recovered alcoholic, 34 years. And I spent 24 years as a drug and alcohol counselor, and a lot of them I had were immigrants. And that just who was smuggled in, and I fought like hell for them, but I wasn't always successful because I didn't have the skills, training.
Yes. Well, congratulations on being sober. I know that to shake off those demons took a lot of sacrifice and hurt. And that is one of so when you look at illegal immigration, the way that I try to explain it is, think of a octopus, like a mutant octopus with 100 tentacles. And those tentacles are now reaching in every crevice of America and is touching it, be child sex trafficking, female sex trafficking, drugs, terrorism, crime, destruction of societal social services. Everything you can imagine in America is being adversely affected by millions. And you and I can go over how I come to the term millions, because it is tens of millions of illegal aliens in our country right now. And it is shocking when you start to understand or be told the true numbers, not the made up numbers the media likes to tell or spin, or actually CBP. Our own government is untrustworthy. And I say that with no glee. Look, we know the FBI is compromised, CIA, and I'm telling you, the DHS and the CBP is utterly compromised as well. Their numbers do not make sense. They report erroneously, because one thing liars can't do is they can't control or remember all the lies that they tell. And they always step on themselves. And the same thing is true with the CBP.
Yes, and I understand that all the government agencies are corrupt. I'm very much against. What I'd like to see is get rid of a few government agencies. The
Yes.
department heads, like about 15 of them. In my opinion, I've done a podcast on it. I've done podcasts on a lot of things, but I've got 40 some odd up here. The last 4 years. This is my 4th year.
Okay.
So I've been doing
That's
this a
great.
day or two.
Good.
So what I want to know, next question that I've got for you is, what created this situation? How did it get started? I hate the word what or why, but what started it? Was it Reagan when he closed the border, when he not offered amnesty to everybody? Is that what started it?
Well, when you look back, like I write in my book, Invaded, I give a detailed description of what was the genesis of this. And people need to understand, prior to 1924, we had mass legal. Remember, we have to make this determination, this distinction between legal and illegal immigration.
Right.
So I'm 100% for legal immigration. I think naturalized citizens, some of those individuals are the best Americans that we have, because
Amen.
they truly come from places where they had no freedom, and now they come here and they cherish what America is. Sometimes when you are just given citizenship by birth, and I lived here, you take for granted the ability to talk about your government, or your ability to retain your private property from intellectual property, as well as manual labor and work.
Mm-hmm.
What we're experiencing in America, the beauty of our freedom, is no one else has these freedoms across the world, across the globe. That's why they want to come here. So I am all for legal immigration. Now, when you look back to 1924, it was the Immigration Act of 1924, which created the United States Border Patrol. But the politicians slammed the door shut and put restrictions on legal immigration, because they saw the influx and balkanization of people from around the globe that stayed in their communities and did not assimilate, did not learn the language. And our politicians back then understood, and our leaders understood, America is great not because of its diversity and the plethora of languages. Our country is great because we are a collection of people that are American.